Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott has had a lot to say about guns in America, and he joins me now. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
The president today was in Minnesota and came out strongly again for a variety of different measures he wants to bring in through the Senate, through the House, to try and, as he puts it, curb gun violence in America. What was your reaction to what he said?
Well, it seems to be more show than reality, because it seems like on the very same day, the majority leader came out and said that they're not going to pass any assault weapons ban. And so it seems working.
He didn't say they wouldn't pass. He said he'd take a look at it.
Well, I thought he made an announcement later today that he didn't think that the United States Senate on the Democrat side would pass an assault weapon ban. So it seems like the president is swimming against the tide of even his own party.
Let's go through some of these measures, because I want to see where there's common ground, and then we can argue about where there isn't. Do you support 100% background checks, universal background checks?
No, the problem that we have with regard to the background checks is the current background checks are not working. We're seeing so many violations of it that the federal officials are not enforcing.
But in principle, the principle of universal background checks, do you support that?
Well, the principle of ensuring that criminals and those who have mental issues do not get their hands on guns are very important. The problem
what about the principle of knowing who is buying guns in America? Because a lot of these people don't show the obvious mental dangers, if you like, until it's too late. What about just the principle of, if you buy a gun, even at a gun show, there's a record of it, and you have to have a background check.
And what I'm trying to tell you is that right now, if you go to a gun show, you will have a background check run. The important thing, though,
Actually, that's not true, though.
Here's the important thing.
You will in some cases, but the private trades that go on these gun shows, there's no records.
Which is a good point. I was hunting last month with a good friend in South Texas. I used a rifle that I would have liked to have purchased from him. Had he had to go through a background check on me, it would have slowed down the purchase and would have hindered people like myself who may want to buy a gun from a friend. I wanted to sell one of my pistols to a friend of mine. Should I have to run a background check on my friend I've known for more than a decade just because I want to sell him a pistol?
But you can guarantee that every single person at a gun show in Texas is going to be in the future of sound mental health and isn't going to suddenly develop either criminal tendencies, suicidal tendencies, or murderous tendencies. Can you guarantee that?
What we need to do is to enforce and take measures to crack down on violence, to help those with mental challenges, to put the criminals behind bars and prevent criminals from getting a hold of guns in the first place.
Would you support a ban on magazines that have more than 10 rounds?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because look at the Texas border itself. We have more than 1,000 miles of border. We have thousands of ranchers who live up and down that border, and frequently we have drug cartels coming across the border. Also,
how many drug cartel barons and their operatives have attacked people in Texas?
We have drug cartel members who have shot at law enforcement, who have hit law enforcement with bullets.
Texan civilians, I'm talking
about. My point is that if they are so brazen that they are going to shoot law enforcement officers, the innocent ranchers have to be fearful, and these ranchers may be hundreds of miles away from any law enforcement.
Has any Texan rancher, to your knowledge, ever been confronted with a Mexican drug cartel?
Absolutely. There are plenty of stories. Every month you'll have...
There are shootouts all over Texas involving Mexican drug cartels?
Well, you said,
Texan farmers?
Yeah, you said confronted. The cartels and the drug dealers are crossing the border, confronting ranchers on an ongoing basis in the state of Texas. They deserve, under the Second Amendment, to have the ability to meet force with force, which is what the Second Amendment guarantees. And so these ranchers need to be able to protect themselves. Let me add one more thing. You're in Houston right now. There are members of the vicious gang MS-13 right here in Houston, as well as other deadly gangs. People here in Houston have a right to defend themselves from the deadly MS-13 gang.
Do you agree with the fact that you can't legally buy in most places in America machine guns, warfare-style machine guns?
That's been banned.
Do you support that?
Well, that's a ban that's in place. And
do you support it?
We have been fine with that ban.
Why?
However,
why are you fine with it? Why doesn't that breach your constitutional rights?
Well,
we can have them, and I thought that your interpretation, unless I'm wrong, is you should have whatever everybody else has.
Well, the interpretation of the Second Amendment, the reason why it was passed in the first place, is to allow Americans to defend themselves from either government forces or other forces that endanger their lives.
If the government attacked you, it would be with the United States military, who would all be armed with machine guns. They are banned from civilian use, yet you support that ban, but you're not prepared to even think about a ban on military-style rifles still in circulation and still legal.
Well, it depends on what you mean by military style. A lot of people use this phrase military style, when in reality it's nothing more than a semi-automatic weapon that is used even for deer hunting. Some people categorize that as military style.
In this very gun store, I can buy an AR-15. I can buy a slide device over there, which will allow me, in semi-automatic mode, to fire up to 300 rounds a minute. What is your definition of an assault rifle, given I can legally buy that here and kill 300 people in 1 minute?
Well, first, I think that any Texan has a right to be able to purchase one of those weapons. When it comes to talk about limiting our rights, we need to have the right to defend ourselves whenever anyone tries to attack us.
Thank you very much.